One of the most asked questions I get as a realtor for people that are either visiting or relocating here is, what is the weather like there? So today's video is going to be talking about the 4 seasons of living in Lincoln, Nebraska. Let's go. What's up, everybody? My name is Heidi Brandt, and I'm a real estate agent with Home Real Estate, and I'm making videos on what it's like to live, work, and play in Lincoln, Nebraska. If you want to know more about what it's like to live here, hit that subscribe button, click the little bell so you get notifications, and feel free to leave a comment if there's videos that you'd love to see or if you have questions or comments about this one. So today we're going to talk about weather, and living in the middle of the country in flatlands, it's interesting sometimes. And we definitely have 4 seasons, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each of those today, and my favorites and my not so favorites. So we obviously have winter, spring, summer, and fall. Winter is my least favorite. I do love snow, but I don't like all of the things that come with it. So winter's typically December, January, February, and the highs are usually in the 30s. Lows can get really cold in the teens and even below 0. But we also get an occasional 50 degree day in the middle of January too. So today is actually January 18th, and we had about 30 minutes of one of the most beautiful snowfalls. It was the big fluffy flakes, but it literally lasted about 30 minutes. And 2 days from now, Wednesday, it's supposed to be close to 50 degrees. So there's the randomness of living in Nebraska in the winter. The worst part for me, and I think for a lot of people living here, is the wind. And we joke about Nebraska has nothing to stop the wind because we have fields and there's no trees, and living in Lincoln is a little bit different because we have buildings and things. But one of the worst conditions that we have, for example, last week we had about an inch of snow, but we had wind gusts of 50 and 60 miles an hour. So if you're driving on the interstate, which is I-80, between anywhere, Lincoln and Omaha, or heading west, there's nothing to stop that wind. So it makes even an inch of snow whiteout conditions and a little bit scary when you're driving. So that's the worst part for me, is the wind. Whether it's walking through it, it can chill you to the bones, or driving in it when there's even just a little bit of snow. Second season, obviously spring. Average temperatures are 50s and 60s. Still gets pretty chilly at night, and have the random snowstorm in April, and we have the random 75 degree days in March. So again, it can be super inconsistent when it comes to weather, but on average that's about what it is. Also known as mud season, which if you have dogs like I do, becomes a lot of fun because everything melts during the day, the snow melts, it gets muddy, and then it can freeze at night, but during the day it makes it for a good mess. But spring is also the start of tornado season, which scares a lot of people. I grew up here. It doesn't freak me out. I've never been through an actual tornado. Been through some really good thunderstorms, have seen funnel clouds. Now, I did live in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina for a few years, and happened to go through Hurricane Matthew when I was living there. And I will tell you, I would rather live through a tornado than a hurricane. They're both devastating in their own ways. Hurricanes just last so much longer to get them over with, but neither one of them are fun to go through. This is actually a clip of a tornado, the funnel clouds. These are storm chasers that got some really good some good footage. So like I said, it can be a little freaky, but it's also kind of cool the way that weather works too. Summers here are typically June, July, August, or into September. The average highs are the 80s and 90s, with occasionally a spike of a few days in the hundreds. And it can be a little uncomfortable. The humidity here does get a little high, but it's all relative, I guess. I don't mind the heat, so I'd rather have some heat than I'm a wimp in the cold. But also living in Hilton Head Island, August, September there is way different. And if you don't like humidity and heat, you definitely won't like being there at those times of year. So like I said, it's all relative. We do get some really cool thunderstorms, and weather that comes through in the summer as well, but not like tornado weather or tornado season when it happens in the spring. And my favorite is fall. Fall is when the nights start getting cooler. The weather during the day is a little bit cooler. The humidity drops a lot. Plus it's apple cider donut season. It's pumpkin season. It's football season. It's bonfire season. So all of those things make that one my favorite. We do get some beautiful days here that last, September, October into November a lot of times, and we really do have some beautiful color that happens here as well. So driving along the interstate even, or just backcountry roads, you'll see some really pretty scenery. And one of my favorite things about being here is I love sunrises and sunsets. It's one of my favorite things to do is to take the dog and go find a place to take a walk or a hike in a park and catch the sunrise or the sunset. And we do have some beautiful ones that come across here. So I have lived in a couple different places in the United States, mostly on the East Coast, up in New England, and again in Hilton Head Island in South Carolina. And one of the things that was weird to me growing up here and living in South Carolina was it was really cool to live in a place where I could go sit outside at a coffee shop in my flip-flops in December. At the same time, it was really weird to decorate palm trees for Christmas and not have that. I had this urge to put on my sweater and boots, and we didn't need them there. So I love living in a place that has 4 seasons. It didn't feel right to me to go through winter in my flip-flops. And as much as there are days in the winter, especially with the wind, that I grumble and wish that I was somewhere else warmer, I do appreciate having the seasons where we are. So that's the 4 seasons in a nutshell. Living in Nebraska, there's good and there's bad, as there is anywhere. And if you have any questions or comments about this video, please leave a comment down below. If you'd like to see these videos as they come up, please hit the subscribe button and you'll get a notification. And I'll see you on the next one.